Hi everyone, welcome back to Clever Girl. I just wanted to cut in here really quick and apologize because apparently my mic was not recording. So I'm sorry for the poor sound quality, but I figured it was still worth posting because it's a fun story. So again, I apologize that the sound quality isn't great, but enjoy my Coachella experience. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Clever Girl. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. I think the last episode I posted was the do's and don'ts of dating apps, and that was probably the end of February. Um, and it's now the middle of April, so I have just been very busy. I've had a lot going on. The number one thing that I want to point out is that I do have Invisalign, and if I'm talking weird, that would be why. If I have to take them out, I will, but I feel like I'm used to them by now. I've been wearing them for 2.5 weeks or something like that, so I've kind of just gotten used to talking with them. But I will say my explanation for being gone for so long is just that work has really picked up for me in the last month or so. There was like a change in my role and it has just been chaotic, so I've just had way less free time, especially during the week. And it's not just that I have less free time, I just have less energy to do most of my hobbies, or like hobbies that require a lot more energy, like this one. So I did record another episode and it was really long. It was like my March wrap up, like what I'm reading, what I was watching, all that stuff, and it just was like so long and intimidating to have to edit. So I'm kind of trying to set a goal to have a little bit shorter of episodes so that I can have the time to edit and I can maybe just do it all in a weekend. Not that you guys care about that, but like that's one of the reasons I've been gone, is just because I haven't found the energy to edit because these episodes are so long. So they take me like 2 to 3 times as long to edit them as it takes me to record them. So I'm trying my hardest to keep it tight these days. I guess the other thing that has been going on too is that like I went on a trip in April. I went to Disneyland for a weekend for my boyfriend's birthday. And then the weekend after that, I was just so gassed out that I just needed a weekend to just rot on the couch and watch TV and just catch up on rest. So that's another reason that I've just not been able to put out new episodes. So I'm hoping here this one will be an exciting one. With that being said, I today would like to just have a fun topic. I want to talk about my experience going to Coachella. And it is festival season. Coachella is going on right now. It's weekend 2 right now. I believe next weekend will be Stagecoach. So I just want to talk about that. But I'm going to start off by kind of just outing myself for being a bad sister, because my older brother had planned a nice dinner with my dad and our other brother. And when all of this was happening on that day, I had forgotten and did not realize that the dinner was that night, and I did cancel on my family to go to Coachella, and for that I feel very guilty, and I am apologetic about doing that and never really making it up to them. So I was a bad sister. I went to Coachella instead of going to dinner with my brothers and my dad. So yeah, I was a bad sister. I have no excuse, and that's where we're gonna leave that. I hope my brother Josh can forgive me one day, and I love him. He's my best friend, so I hope he can forgive me. But yeah, so this is what happened. I'm gonna back up a little bit. It was 2022. For some context, in 2022 was 3 years ago, so it was 27 probably. I had no plans to go to Coachella. I actually had no plans to ever go to Coachella in my entire life. Like, at that point in 2022, Coachella had turned into this be seen event, like see and be seen event. And people really, I think, go primarily to take photos and do not care about the musical performances, although the musical performances are like the whole point. But yeah, I had no interest in going. I just was not the type of person to ever go to Coachella. I also had no interest in spending that kind of money on a ticket because I am very frugal. So as much as I love going to concerts and shows and even festivals, I do not like spending that kind of money. Like $600 is psychotic to me. At the time, we were between weekend 1 and weekend 2, and I just like was seeing that people were going online, like on Instagram and stuff. To give some additional context, I had just taken the bar in February of 2022, at the end of February. And if you don't know, after you take the bar, you have to wait like 4 months for your results. So during that period, most people will work. Some people like do other stuff if they're very privileged, like they travel and stuff. But I was working. I was living in Sacramento. I worked at the public defender's office, and the job that you have between when you take the bar and when you get your results is called a post bar. So I was working at the public defender's office as a post bar clerk, and at the time, that office had probably like 50 or more interns from the local law schools. There were just so many interns, like law students, some post bar people, all like just so many people. And I was on a team that had probably 12-ish interns, 10 to 12 maybe interns that were law students and post bar clerks. So there just were a lot of us. On some days on our team, like not everybody had a job to do just because there were so many of us that the tasks kind of ran out. So on a Wednesday between weekend 1 and weekend 2 of Coachella, my friend Amanda texted me, and she texted me and my friend Shelby, and she said that they had extra tickets. She was going with her husband and her brothers-in-law, and she said they had extra tickets if one of us wanted it or both of us wanted to come. And it was like a Wednesday night. I was tired. I was sitting on my couch. I remember very vividly. I was sitting on my couch. I was like watching a movie. I texted back and I was like, I have to work. I think I had said something along the lines of like, oh, that would be really fun, but I have to work. Like, I can't go to Coachella. I have to go to work. So she was kind of like, that was like it for the night. You know, I just didn't respond to any more texts. And then the next morning she texted me again, and she was like, are you sure you don't want to come? It's a free ticket. You should come. It'll be so much fun. And I was like, I don't know. So I got up and went to work. Like at the time I would get to work around like 8:30, 9 o'clock maybe. And I would like, what my job was I would go into the jail and talk to some of our clients in the jail. And that day I think I only had like 1 or 2 people to talk to. So around maybe 10 o'clock, I was like done with pretty much whatever I had to do that day. And there, like I said, there were 10 other people on my team. So it's not like I was like a necessary element. And this is 10 other interns. So they just didn't need that many people on that day. So after I was like done with what I needed to do that morning, I went to my supervisor's office and I was kind of just sitting there chatting with her. And I was like, I see another text from my friend Amanda, and I'm like, oh man, my friend really wants me to go to Coachella with her. Like, she has a free ticket. Should I go? And my boss was like, yeah, what the heck? Like, yeah, go to Coachella. Like, what are you doing here? Like, leave, go have fun. Like, we don't need you. And like, take the next day off. And I was like, okay, like, should I do it? Like, okay, I guess. And then I was just like, okay, I'll go to Coachella. And like, that's really how it happened. Like, I was sitting in her office and I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. And I just got up and I left. I went and got my stuff and I went home. And I was like, all right, I'll come. I'll go to Coachella. And then she's like, cool. And this was like 11 o'clock on Thursday. And we lived in Sac, or near Sac. And Sac is like, I don't even know, like a 10-hour drive from Indio Valley. So it was 11. So we were driving that night to get there. And they were camping. So she's like, okay, get to my place by 3. So I went home. It's 11 o'clock. I go home and I just pack like a duffel bag full of things that I thought might look cute at Coachella. Like I think I tried a few things on, but I didn't like plan any outfits. I like threw in a pair of cowboy boots. I brought my Doc Martens. I brought like a long floral dress. I brought a couple body chains and some sunglasses. And like that was pretty much it. Like I did not do much. I honestly, in my head right now, I can remember 2 outfits that I wore, but I cannot remember what I wore on the 3rd day. Like it is not in my mind. I have no idea. I can't even remember. That's so funny. But yeah, I just threw a bunch of stuff into a duffel bag, and I think I left my house by like 2 o'clock to get to her house at 3. So it was like maybe 2.5 hours I was home packing and like eating lunch. So I get to her house at 3 o'clock and like they are packing up their truck. My friend Amanda just really likes to be prepared. So her and her husband brought everything possibly you could need ever at Coachella, and they brought it with them in their truck. So like 100% grateful for it. It was just hilarious because it was exactly the opposite of the time that I was having, which was like, here's my duffel bag full of things that I packed 2 hours ago. So yeah, like you wouldn't even know we were going on the same trip. They pack up their truck and around 4 o'clock we leave. We start driving to Palm Springs, essentially Indio, and you know, we're on our way there. Great. So much fun. About, I'd say probably 2 hours into the drive, Amanda's like looking through her stuff and she looks to Ryan and she's like, you packed the wristbands, right? And he was like, you packed the wristbands. And she said, I did not pack the wristbands. And that's when they realized that we didn't have the wristbands. We were 2 hours in. So they had to call Amanda's brother, and he drove like an hour to bring us the wristbands, and we turned around and drove an hour back. So we added like 2 hours to the drive, and because we had to double back to get the wristbands, which was a bummer, but honestly, like I think we figured it out. They learned about it early on enough that it was not detrimental to the trip, because if it had been any later, like if it had even been like 30 minutes or an hour later, it would have been detrimental, just given what happened later. So we stop on the way there, we get some food, and we just drive the rest of the way. And my friend Ryan drives like a maniac, but we were safe. But I was scared because we were going so fast over the grapevine, and it was raining. Like, it was raining, and we were, I'm estimating, but I think he must have been driving 100 miles an hour. It was insane. Like, I think I just closed my eyes and I was like, don't think about it. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And Amanda and Ryan say this all the time, that like, yeah, he drives crazy, but like he would never put himself in danger. So he would never put like his passengers in danger. So he felt confident in his driving, and that was enough. And you know what? I'm glad he was going so fucking fast, because by the time we got to Palm Springs, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a really long drive. And if you don't know, at the time, if you're camping at Coachella, you had to be in the gate in line to get to your campsite before 2 a.m. At 2 a.m., they close the gate on you. So we get into Palm Springs and it's maybe 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock-ish. We have to go to the will call line first to get some wristbands that were at the will call. And then we go to get in line. And we are a 3-car caravan. Honest to God, we probably got in line to get into the venue at 1:30 in the morning, and we probably got through the gate around 1:45. Like, we met the cutoff by that much, which is why like the timing from when they realized that they forgot their wristbands could not have been any later, because we would never have made it in line, especially if we had gone to will call first. So like, insanity. We get in line and it's, 15 minutes later they close the gate and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We sit in our cars in line for 3 hours. I know this is probably like a very common Coachella experience to like wait in line for so long, but like it was so crazy. Like I can't even explain how crazy it was, because it was just like a parking lot of cars. Disorganized cars, by the way, semi-forming lines as we reached closer to the front. And it was for 3 hours. We're moving at like 1 mile per hour or something like that, because it was not even that far of a distance. There were just so many people. Once we get into the venue, it is 4:45 in the morning. It's been 3 hours. I haven't slept since the day before. Like, I woke up at 7 a.m. the day before. And we've been in a car driving for 10 plus hours at this point, and maybe longer, 12 hours. Like, we did take breaks and stop and stuff, but 12 hours in a car is psychotic. We get out to set up the campsite, and I'm not gonna lie, it was rough for me. I was not in a great mood. I was hungry. I was tired. I wanted to sleep. It was rough, I think, for everyone. But we get out, we park the cars, we get into our campsite spots, we park the cars, and we start unloading everything to put the campsite together. And I kid you not, the moment we get out of the car, it starts to rain, which I didn't think happened in the desert. So, you can imagine what that did for my mood. Despite the rain, we set up the campsite. Everyone else in our group, I think, like, stayed up to like have a couple drinks and wind down. And I'll say, very generously, they gave me my own tent. They did not need to do that. It was very, very sweet of them. I had my own tent, and as soon as it was set up, I went and laid down in there, because it was after 5 in the morning. And I knew my body was going to wake up no later than 8 a.m. the next day. So I needed to sleep for as long as I possibly could. And also, my tummy hurt, because I'm pretty sure we had Taco Bell. And you can imagine what that was doing to me in the night. And I have a hard time sleeping when there's any light. And I have a hard time sleeping when there's any noise. And you can imagine that at a music festival, the day before it starts, people are very excited and very eager. And they don't turn any lights off in the campsite because of safety reasons. So I had a hard time sleeping, but I did lay there for 3 hours and attempt to sleep. And around 8 a.m. I gave up and decided to get up. And that was when Coachella started for us. So my friends, Amanda and Ryan, didn't like ask me to pay for the ticket. They didn't ask me to pay for the campsite. They didn't ask me to pay for anything, really. They also, pretty much whenever I'm with them, like, pay for all my drinks and will pay for my food. So it was just like such a crazy experience that I got to do essentially for free. I remember trying to give them money, but I don't know if they kept it. I don't know how much it was. I think I offered them maybe like $500. I truly just do not remember. So I am like eternally grateful. They never asked me for anything. And I will say, like, the best part of the experience was that it was spontaneous. It was great for me to just show up there and kind of just go with the flow because I didn't have any expectations. Like, I had not been thinking about this for months or a year. Like, they had bought their tickets in 2020 and then it got like canceled and stuff. So like they had been waiting for 2 years to go, and so they had been anticipating this, and like I'm sure the girls had been like planning their outfits and figuring out what they're gonna wear, and like I just did not have that. I had 2 hours to plan an outfit, and it was with stuff I already owned. So I think that was like a huge relief for me and made it so that I could enjoy the festival a lot more than I probably would have had I been thinking about it for so long and like looking at the set lists for weeks and trying to figure out who I wanted to see. Like, I just didn't care. I was just enjoying the fact that I was there and I was with some of my best friends and I was having just like a really great time. So not having to think about like what I was going to wear and if it's going to look cute or whatever was just a huge load off of my back. And I really did have like such a good time. I will say, like, it is disappointing to get there sometimes and to get into the venue, and it is simply people taking photos everywhere you turn. And I don't just mean like at the art installations and in front of the Ferris wheels, like in the crowds while musicians are performing. People are turning their backs to the stage to get a photo, which is crazy to me because it's Harry Styles, you know, and or it's Megan Thee Stallion, and it's like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. That is a little bit disappointing, I think, in general with any experience like that, but I had such a great time. Some of the highlights were we got to go into the Tiki bar, which I think it was like a speakeasy. So that was cool. And then we got to see who were the best performers. I'd say like Big Sean was insanely good. Like, he is such a good performer. He's such a good rapper. Like, the way he flows is like amazing. It's so crazy. We got to see a little bit of Harry Styles, but I think we left before he finished. And it was the night that he brought Lizzo out. We got to see Doja Cat. That was really great. Megan Thee Stallion was awesome. We were like out on the outskirts of the crowd during Megan Thee Stallion. And I remember I was eating chicken tenders and it was great. I was having the time of my life. I think one of the really good performances too, if I can remember, was The Weeknd and Swedish House Mafia. Wild combination, but honestly like really rad. Like so fun. And getting to see all those things in person, like the Ferris wheel and that like rainbow installation and just walking around the festival grounds was really cool. So I had a great time. My feet did hurt really, really, really badly the first day, and I had to take my shoes off, and one of my friends carried them for me like a champ, and I was such a little wussy. And then on one day we stood in line for merch for like 3 hours. And during that time I had gotten like dust or sunscreen in my eye or something like that. And I was just like tearing constantly. It was horrible. Yeah, it was just horrible. I had to go to the medic tent after to get it washed out. And all they did was like they took a water bottle and they poked a hole in the lid of the water bottle and like sprayed it into my eyes. And it was like one eye mostly, but I was like, that felt so good. Can you do it in the other eye? And they did. They just cleaned out my eyes with some clean water. So those were like the low lights that I hurt my feet and got sunscreen in my eyes. But I got some really cute merch. I got like a tie-dye t-shirt with a little caterpillar of smiley faces and it says Coachella on it. And then I got some Megan Thee Stallion merch, a Hot Girl Summer t-shirt, which my friend Ian got a matching one. So he just wants to be me so bad. I get it. It was just a really fun time. Like I said, just having that stress of all the planning like taken off of my back was so great. And also, like I said, Amanda and Ryan brought everything. So Amanda had brought like a curling iron and was able to like hook that up to their car. engine or battery or something, and she was able to like do her hair and I was able to do my hair, and like it was great. I just don't even know what else to say about, other than like the spontaneity of it made it so much better of an experience for me than I could have imagined. Because I think when it comes to big festivals or events like that, I tend to get very overwhelmed, and after COVID and everything, being in a crowd kind of freaked me out a little bit too. But not having any time to ruminate on that or to worry about it, and I was just able to do it, was like so great. It was so much fun. So yeah, that's my Coachella experience. I'm sure there are details I left out, but it was a really good time. I hope whoever went this year had a really good time. I hope they enjoyed all the artists. Yeah, and thank you so much for tuning in here. So I'm gonna finish off this episode with a quiz as usual. I'm gonna try to keep it quick. Okay, this quiz is called Daily Trivia Quiz, Elton John, Hollandaise Sauce, and Mickey Mouse. Question 1. In the movie Mean Girls, which song do the Plastics perform to during the winter talent show? The options are Jingle Bell Rock, Santa Baby, Last Christmas, and All I Want for Christmas Is You. I think it's Jingle Bell Rock. Yay! Second question. Area 51 is located in which U.S. state? The options are New York, Nevada, California, or Kansas. I think it's Nevada. Yes. What fruit do you typically use when making hollandaise sauce? Lime, lemon, orange, or grapefruit? I think lemon. Yes. In which film did Mickey Mouse make his first big screen debut? Steamboat Willie, The Duck Hunt, Fantasia, Mickey's Birthday Party. Steamboat Willie. I just went to Disneyland, so I feel like all my Disney facts are like right at the front of my mind. Next question. When one is envious, they are said to be what color? Yellow, green, red, or blue? It's green. What is Elton John's real name? Okay. Anthony Johnson, Reginald Kenneth Dwight, Jonathan Elliott Dowell, Christopher McNichol. My heart is saying Reginald Kenneth Dwight, so I'm gonna guess that. That was correct. I don't know how I knew that. I don't know how. Okay, next question. What element does O represent on the periodic table? Oxygen, oganesson, osmium, or potassium? Oxygen. What were frequent subjects for Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings? Oh boy. Flowers, household pets, musical instruments, bearded men. I am not familiar with Georgia O'Keeffe. There's a picture here of her. She's an elderly lady in this photo, and she's smiling really big. I'm gonna say household pets. Oh, it was flowers. Almost got a perfect score. 7 out of 8 is not that bad though. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Thank you for being patient with me while I sort out my life. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow me on social media, and be sure to be here next time. Thanks again. Bye.